What's going on, guys? Welcome back to CRYPTiCK Gaming. I'm CC135, and in the background you'll see IHNK going off in Combine with the KRM using that filthy Policia camo. He drops well over 50 kills, he's actually closer to the 100 mark, and he finishes with a 4KD as well, so you can check out his score at the end of the game. But the game's been out for over a month now, so we all know how the game runs, what streaks are good, what streaks are bad, what guns are good, what guns are OP. And what we can find from playing the game in the last month is that the higher score streaks, especially the very high ones, are quite underpowered and easily countered using the ridiculously OP'd rocket launchers. So yesterday on Twitter, David Vonderhaar tweeted out 37.25.30.4 Arena Pro Series equals to COD World League rules / maps. Score streaks tuning, in brackets buffs for days and fixes, map exploits and more. Now when I checked on Charlie Intel, they had no more details, so that left us in the dark about what score streaks exactly had been buffed, because we know they needed a buff. I mean, I'd imagine that the Hater, the Wraith, the Raps, the Mothership, they're the ones that really needed a buff because they were just being shot down way too quickly. Now we actually played all day yesterday pretty much, and we got a good idea of what has been buffed and what hasn't, what is good, what is still good, and what may not be so good anymore. So this video is really just to let you guys know which streaks are good to use and which streaks may still need a little bit more buffing, because in my opinion some of them probably do. Or maybe if they don't want to buff the streaks anymore, they could nerf the rocket launchers, because in my opinion having four rockets in a black cell when the streaks only take 3 rockets to shoot down, that's just way too overpowered. So let's start off with the dart. Now if you didn't know, the dart actually locked on to enemy streaks, so if you were trying to shoot them down with your rockets, it actually locked on. Now it also locks on to ground enemies, which means that now when you're flying your dart around, you can lock onto a target, fire your rocket off and get a kill. So that makes it much more reliable, and if you're good at flying dart and quite accurate at shooting, you're probably going to finish with 4 kills from your dart, so it's a handy little streak to run. The lightning strike doesn't seem to have been changed very much. Maybe the damage has been boosted slightly, but again it's one of those streaks that is highly dependent on your placement, and if people are running flak jacket, you're probably going to get a lot of hit markers with it, which is quite frustrating. The Hellstorm rockets seem to have been slightly improved. They seem to, when you split the rocket, the mini rockets seem to track enemies slightly. Don't quote me on that, but when we were using it, it seemed to track enemies slightly, and personally when I was using it, I was getting more triples than I was before the patch, so maybe it has been buffed a little bit with the damage as well. However, it still doesn't kill people most of the time. If they're using flak jacket, you're going to get a hit marker, and it's also dependent on your aim. I would highly suggest that you speed it up by pressing L3. Now no change really to the sentry gun and Cerberus. They were pretty solid before the patch and still remain pretty solid. You're probably going to pick up 4 to 5 kills at a minimum, unless they're destroyed. I mean they're pretty decent. They take 2 rockets to destroy, or 2 EMPs, so they're pretty reliable streaks to use. The Rolling Thunder is still a huge waste of time in my opinion. It's really highly dependent on your placement and direction of the Rolling Thunder, and it's really random because the enemies can run anywhere when you place it, so it's dependent on what way they run. If they all run the same way as your Rolling Thunder, then you might get a good streak, but most of the time I see people picking up maybe a kill with the Rolling Thunder. It just doesn't seem to be worth it for the points. It also doesn't kill people straight away if they've got flak jacket, and it takes far too long to arrive. Most of the time the enemy have gone to another flag if you're playing domination, and you're just not going to get many kills. It also allows the opposition, if you haven't seen, to build up quite a nice streak very quickly, because if you shoot down one of the jets that are coming in to dive bomb, you actually get 150 points towards your streak. So if you shoot all of them down, you're going to get a nice big streak in about 5 seconds, so not worth the time. The Talon seems to be unchanged. It still flies around and picks up kills around you while you're playing. However, it does annoy me because most of the time I get killed and then the Talon kills the person avenging me, which is a little bit annoying if you're on a streak, but it's kind of expected. If you control it yourself, obviously you're going to pick up a lot more kills, but you're going to be sat in a corner and not actually getting gun kills. So if you're trying to get a nuclear, or if you're trying to get loads of XP, you're going to get less XP because you're only going to be getting 25 points per kill. The Wraith seems to be a little bit more damaging. I think it might not be the damage so much as the targeting system and who it shoots. We actually had a Wraith called in against us, and we were 6-man. It came up in the feed with a 6-man, and we were all killed in about 1.5 seconds. So it does seem a little bit better, seems a little bit more improved. But you can still shoot it down in the 2 rockets, and if someone's using Engineer, it can be taken down before it's even come into the map. Now the Hater, I don't think it's been buffed. I think we may have just been in a good lobby where they weren't using rockets. But they did seem to be staying up a lot longer than before, However, it's still going to be shot down in 3 rockets. And again, it's just not quite the VSAT of Black Ops 2. The wraps seem a little bit better, but still seem to roll into walls and have random paths. They can still be shot, or the ship can still be shot down in 3 rockets. And if you have engineer, you can shoot it down twice before entering the map, and probably a 3rd time, so that you only actually drop about 2 rat balls. Still not as good as dogs from previous games, and but it's not killing the person who called it in so much, so that's a plus. The GI unit is very inconsistent. In one game I got 3 kills with 3 GI units, and another game I got 13 with 1. The mothership feels smoother and it's easier to use and more damaging. Seems to be a one-shot kill on most occasions, 2 to 3 if they're using flak, and the rockets have a good blast radius. So the mothership, if you get it, is probably a decent streak to use. So that's what we can surmise from the patch, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. I'm CC135. Until next time, peace.